my Chromebook go?
Okay. What can we do? Well, if nobody else comes.
We're being recorded.
This room was like so hot earlier today. I'm really not sure what is happening.
Yeah, it's cold now.
I know.
No, it feels really good.
I don't know what it's like outside, but it is cold.
Okay, so you are going to join this presentation by going to joinpd.com and then KCHA 15 carrots help acidic flashlights. And please have chocolate. Put it right here in the middle.
So is all of that the password?
You go to joinpd.com. No, and then it's just KCHAF. Teradek makes these fun little pneumatic devices. So just to help you get the right letters. I didn't make that. So I have two questions, I guess, then. Has anyone used Teradek before? Oh, fun. And does anyone have any idea what SAMR stands for, or did you just come because you didn't know what it was and the other ones were?
Yes, it's,
I had no idea what it is.
I don't know, it's just augment.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
That's one, yep.
That's fine. I'm not giving you a quiz just yet. Don't worry, the quiz will come later. There will be a quiz, so don't worry.
It's right here.
Just curious, because I do know a lot of people kind of like looked at it and were like, I don't even know what that is, so I'm gonna
I know what it means, but I don't know what it means.
Okay, so it looks like we
I know
are,
what it means, but the words are, it's an acronym.
we are all in. So Pear Deck is fun. It just will kind of move the slides along as well as give some interaction. Pear Deck, you can import any Google Slides you've already made right into Pear Deck. So you don't have to make some other thing in Pear Deck. If you have some sort of slides presentation, you just import it in, and then it gives you all these little interactive features you can add. Before I start, I wanted to give credit first Sarah Perez and Lisa Bowman. A lot of you guys know Sarah Perez is my sister, just from me talking about her, but some of the information, some of the slides ideas come from her, as well as Sean Cormier and Amanda Carroll. They're both instructional technology coaches in, I can't remember which district they're at.
128.
I think it's 128. I can't see it, it's covering it. And so some ideas kind of come from them. A lot of different people do a lot of different things with SAMR, but it all kind of comes back to the same, how we're using technology and why we're using technology and kind of the importance of it. So first thing I want you to do is just drag your dot to indicate whether you agree or disagree. It's super important to get students engaged with content. Awesome. So I think you agree that this is important. So now I want you to drag your dot to, I know how to use technology to enhance my lessons. You can be kind of somewhere in the middle, you can be close to one, closer to the other. So yeah, a lot of times, we kind of always end up all across the spectrum on this as far as just based on how much we really used it, or kind of what resources we know are out there. So I want you to take a minute and answer this question. What is one thing, so this is leveraging technology, what is one thing you most want to do? So short answer, I just put 10 words or less to kind of keep it short there. We don't need essays or paragraphs here, but just leveraging technology, what's one thing you most want to do?
You mean like an activity?
You know what, and I changed the wording of that twice, and now it looks really weird. Just answer it however you want. It's very open-ended on purpose. I'll show you why. I guess we could try to use this as a tablet. Should I try using this as a tablet? Ooh, no. Look at that. Let's see.
This is so good if you keep it facing that way. Hold it that way, like cover. You turn it sideways.
Oh, like if I go like this, but
Yeah.
keep it like this.
There you go.
Ooh. I'll turn the keyboard off. Okay, so let's see if I can. All right, so give students a voice in their learning, individual student assessment check-in, learning how to incorporate technology day to day, use it properly, tech to do commercials or reviews, have students be independent. So I love it. We all have some different things here. So, oh good, Kathy might be the only one who has seen this video. Some other of you guys might have seen this video, but I played this video before at a Peacock Institute thing. So if you did see it, just kind of bear with me because I love it. We're gonna watch this. We're gonna hope this casts as well. I feel like YouTube just knows.
It's called how do I know? And a lot of times when people hear the phrase "how do I know," the next thing they say is "what?" How do I know what? The key really isn't to know what. The key is to know why. Because when you know your why, you have options on what your what can be. For instance, my why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. My what is stand-up comedy. My what is writing books. My what can be going out with some friends to eat. In fact, another what that is moving towards my why is a web series that we have out now called Break Time. So every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you should subscribe to the channel. We do a series called Break Time on YouTube. So 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode. One episode in particular, I'm about to show you a clip to. We're in Winston-Salem. So break time, this is how it works. I travel the country, I do stand-up comedy, probably an hour, hour and a half at an event. And in the middle of my show, I'll just sit down and start talking to the audience. And funny just happens. Or I'll meet somebody who's really interesting. So I met this one guy, and he said that he teaches music at a school. I was like, all right, you teach music, can you sing? And then I'm just going to show you a clip. Check it out. So you're a musical director? Yes, sir. All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. You can do the first part of that and go ahead. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Wow. That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when he was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the good version real quick if you know what version I'm talking about, to see if that exists. Let me see what you got. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
I don't know how to spell it.
I know. I love that part.
Totally in the scene.
Here's the thing. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time I asked him to sing, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what has more impact because you're walking in or towards your purpose.
Okay. So I love that clip. It gives me the chills every time I hear him sing. But so I purposely asked
Hey, don't put
you.
your house on the market. This is a story.
I purposely asked you the what before, because the what, just what are we doing? So I have a follow-up question to that, of course. Now I want you to put why. Why do you want to do your what? So think about maybe the thing you answered, what you want to do with technology, but now I want you to, in 10 words or less, why do you want to do it? Why do you want to use technology to do whatever you answered before? And some of you kind of had a little bit of a why in your answer before already. But do I click on something to enter? Oh, it didn't come up? No. Response? No. Better? No. Oh, see, now I gotta go back and space. I can't navigate this well like this. Let's see, what did I do? I was messing with things. I may have taken the question out. I have a question. But it didn't let you answer it? No. No. No? Really?
Now, when I refresh,
Okay, refresh. I don't know what I did. That's right. I don't know what I did. So just to go through a couple here, I think it'll engage other students to read different books when they see one. So the purpose being engaging the other students, here engaging students, enhancing their comprehension, engaging students in their learning. Technology will be used for this with students for the rest of their lives. I think that is so important because it really is just kind of a part of everyone's life. It's not some separate thing. Individualized plans, awesome, can help definitely differentiate. Individualized interests and feel comfortable sharing ideas. Ooh, whoever answered that one, my presentation on Wednesday is hearing the quietest quietest voice in the room. So I'll be doing different, kind of ways to get everyone's answer. So I just think it's so important, just like I said, that we're keeping the why in mind, that we're not using technology for the sake of technology. I don't think technology needs to be used in every single thing we do every day, but really purposefully using it when it can enhance, when it can help engage in a different way. So I have a second little video that goes with that by Simon Sinek, and you might kind of have heard, I don't know, has anyone heard this before at all? Okay, very good. I'll just play on this. I won't do any background on it. I'm going a little bit further into that. What's your why?
There's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way. And that's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle.
Yeah, it's so bad when
Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it. Whether you call it your differentiated value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because it's easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Yeah. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate as personally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients who business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? We're going to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally told them to their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Why do you want one? Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs.
Oh.
And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly
But I've listened
well-designed
to it on
products.
that's
But people want one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer player? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level? The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give someone all the facts and the figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why do we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, there are other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language.
So I think this kind of all goes with, starting with the why. He has several books he has written, but one I think it's called The Golden Circle. And it's really cool to think about, especially just when we're thinking about we're teaching them these facts and figures, just really starting with that why and why it is so important to have the why behind it. Why are we doing any of the things we are doing? So bringing that to the technology portion of it. So SAMR, I heard a couple of the words out there before. So it starts with substitution. So technology acts as direct tool substitute with no functional change. I handed out worksheets, now hand them out via Google Classroom. I was just even writing a paper, now I'm typing it. Nothing changes about the task. That's the substitution level of SAMR. Augmentation, technology acts as a direct tool substitute with little improvement. So now I am typing that paper in a Google Doc, and the teacher's giving me feedback while I'm typing it. So now we've added a little bit to that task with the technology that we have. Modification is significant task redesign. So now I am collaborating with my partner. We're both writing on the same paper at the same time while the teacher's commenting and giving us feedback, and we're changing it while we're writing it. So that we couldn't really do on a piece of paper if we were both at home, if we didn't have a teacher sitting right at our table. It modifies that task. And redefinition is something that just you couldn't even conceive before the technology was there. So now we're making a video with a partner. We're putting it on a blog. We're getting feedback from real people out in the real world. It's how do we redefine this task completely? And it's not that there's one level that's better than the other. There are definite tasks that substitution is the way to go. There are definite tasks that augmentation is the way to go, modification and redefinition. And in fact, if you have some sort of lesson and you're just trying to add technology and can't figure out how to add technology and make it better, then that's probably a lesson where you shouldn't be looking at the technology. So I'm going to go through a few of these, and I guess maybe we'll go through like a math. I don't know. I don't want to go through kind of all of them. They're all, I have basically a whole bunch of examples. And just kind of always going back to the what's your why, not focusing on I want them to create an iMovie. You know, why? What's the learning target? What are they trying to show you? What are they trying to get out of that? So here's some various areas. I did not come up with most of these examples. They're kind of linked at the bottom, you'll see. So you can go look at these more later if you would like. I do have this slide deck all put together in the resources. That's not kind of broken down like this. So, good, math came up first. So, math. So, an S would be rather than making a paper copy, making it available in Google Drive, and maybe you can annotate it. You can annotate a piece of paper too, just as well. But maybe this still works well because, you know, you're absent students, so it's still helpful to do, but it doesn't change the task. So now maybe we create a worksheet on, and so that's linked if you want to look at it later, but you can, there's interactive features on Wiser.me. So now I can interact with that worksheet a little bit more. An M could be students working on in groups. They find their answers, they create their video where they're explaining how they solved their problem. So now this modifies the text. Now you don't just see their solution, you don't see their answer, you see why they did what they did. And it really is crazy sometimes to see some kids explain a math problem that maybe they got right, but maybe it was by chance. And if they did it again, it wouldn't actually work because maybe based on how they're reasoning, they couldn't get to the right answer every time. They're just making sense of what they have in front of them. So that is very helpful for, you know, assessment type. And then R, now they created their videos, they posted them to the class website, and now they became study aids for all the kids in the class. Or they posted them to YouTube and they're teaching other students how to do something with math. That's something that they couldn't do without the technology. I'm going to skip the social studies one. Again, they're all there. Go through back. Let's get B2. Let's go language. So again, a substitution using a word processing tool to complete the assignment, whether that's Word or Google Doc or anything. Augmentation, adding a little bit to it. The teacher's giving interactive immediate feedback as it's being typed. A modification, they're collaborating with peers, they're asking and answering each other's questions in maybe that target language. And then again, redefinition, we're finding native speakers. PenPal is a website where people hook up with other classrooms, and this doesn't have to be for foreign language, it can be for your language arts, anything where they're practicing with pen pals, and you can hook up with another teacher, and teachers are on there, and they just post, we would like pen pals for the next 3 months. We would like write once a week. And you can say, ooh, I want to do that. And you connect with that teacher. And again, not always possible making those types of connections without technology, especially if we're talking to some native speakers in another country. Science, reading the textbook, finding a picture, labeling it, use Google Drawing for that. Augmentation, we may be using Google Draw, but now have a partner. And again, that feedback piece, that ongoing feedback, we're not waiting until the end to evaluate the product. We're giving feedback all the way along. Modifying that a little bit. So SketchUp, you can make a 3D model, and then you can post a link to it. So maybe you post it on a Padlet, maybe you post it on a Google Classroom, a class website. And then R, using that 3D model, but then maybe broadcasting a presentation on YouTube, and again, including that broader live audience. Okay, so we're going to practice if I answered the questions correctly. So I want you to right? Anything where you can think of where technology would just be a direct tool substitute with no functional change. Did you get the question on this one? Okay, good. Okay, word processing, distributing a sheet music for viewing, test or quiz Google form worksheet. Now it depends there, because if you're using, well, I guess Google form can give you immediate yes, no, you got it right, you got it wrong. So that might be a little bit of an augmentation depending on how you're using it. Creating a worksheet in Google Doc and sharing it out, math flashcards, quizzes. Again, quizzes, there are a lot of different quiz websites that can give you immediate feedback on whether or not you got it right. So you might be adding a little bit of augmentation depending on the quiz site or how you have that set up. So don't everyone use that one as your example of now. So now what's an example of augmentation? Quizzes, working with partner on the same worksheet, a collaborative slide presentation, a whole class study guide. I love Google Slides as a whole class study guide. Every kid gets a slide and has to do something different to study. That's awesome. Making a final product using some sort of tech resources. Again, depending on how you use them, that might be just substitution, but right, depending on what kind of resources. Some sort of interactive quiz website. Awesome. So I think you know what's coming next. This is where it starts to get trickier. So now here's an example of a lesson where it is modified. The task is changed a little bit because of technology. All right, so Google Slides to allow students to share work thinking, have students provide instant feedback. Nice, they're giving feedback to each other. Submitting a test to level up on instruments. Sure, I guess depending on how you were doing it, if you couldn't do that with technology before. Creating a video to explain a math problem, adding audio, recording of a task. A lot of times adding audio, just your Google slide even, just talking over what you put on your slide, you know, just changes that, what kind of thinking is going into it. And in groups to create a Google site, yes, love sites too. Awesome. And lastly, redefinition. So now this is hard because it's really something you couldn't have done, you couldn't have thought of maybe before. And that really changes that task completely. And again, every lesson shouldn't be at redefinition. I think you should always be looking, maybe you move one line up. If you're at substitution, how could I augment it? If I'm at augmentation, how could I modify it? But you shouldn't always be thinking, how can I redefine this completely? Because it really sometimes means throwing that whole task out completely and starting over. Students submitting individuals and commenting on other student videos. I think unless you add the broader audience, that might be more at the modification, but depending on where those videos are posted. students provide video reflection before and after solving a math problem, maybe using Flipgrid, interacting with an expert remotely. That's always awesome, the expert thing, because, you know, we're not the expert. We don't have to be the experts in the room. We shouldn't be the experts in the room with how much information there is out there. We should be kind of facilitating how to get that information. And there's so many people out there willing, ready to jump on with you, and whether it be on a broadcast or Twitter or something. Change from a paper product to some sort of multimedia. Again, you have to kind of add the audience in order for that to be at the read definition level. So changing that audience. So now that we're all experts, it's time for the quiz. So we're just gonna get a little practice classifying some of these, some different tasks. So when you click the I'm ready, I forgot to have this open in another link, and I will give you the game code. So you click I'm ready, and I'm gonna give you the, this is not, what did I think this is? I think I should be. Sorry, I would normally have this up, but I kept switching gears all day today. So. All right, here you go. 810-543. That's your game code. If you haven't used quizzes before too, the best, well, one of the best parts of this is that I would always with my smartboard hover over the names, like keep them appropriate because I can click them and they go away immediately. Heather, are you joining us?
Yeah, mine just kept cycling.
Yay, we're in. So just so you know, if you've never played quizzes before, you do get more points for answering the question faster, but you get 0 for answering it wrong. So you do want to read all of the answers. Is that the projecting noise?
Yeah.
No, how do we turn that off? That's all. And when you're playing quizzes, you can choose to project whether you record or not, depending on what you're doing and depending on the types of kids in your room. So that may not always be appropriate, but of course, right now it would be fun. Who's winning? Okay. What's the question? Just keep changing the order. Right, but a modification also changes the task with technology. So substitution is still using technology.
Right.
It's just substituting something. Augmentation is added to it. Look at you, perfect score. Yeah. And then a lot of them can be argued in between. So. There's the lead.
I missed a question.
Linda and I, this is where we get.
We're so competitive. Not with each other, just in general.
Oh, yes, you are. Oh!
Get it wrong finally?
Oh.
Did you miss one?
I only got one so far.
I got another one wrong.
That is hilarious.
It's what's wrong with me?
Oh!
I still missed another one for it. Dang it. The last one was tense. Oh, Heather, you asked for my 30 points.
I'm not done yet. Oh, I have to get these.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
First. Heather and I are better friends.
I still have to go.
We're on the same team.
I don't.
Oh, I got another wrong.
Golden 12 Bourbon.
I don't. So close. Will help teachers.
Oh.
Oh.
10 points separated right now.
No!
I'm all done. You won by 10 points.
Oh, God.
Heather and I should just be on the same team.
This is why I'm trivia night. Yeah, I get out of here. I get out of here.
Oh.
I was more upset with it. Or something busy.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Disappointed.
Yeah,
myself
you
with that one.
That
was the beginning of the year.
Was it an instant day?
Yeah.
But this one.
I went home and had to watch.
I'm not back.
Trying to prove the question wrong.
I was
I'm
like,
kind of in
I
the moment.
need to learn these.
I never thought I was good. But everybody tells me.
Oh, I am. I was the first
Out
one.
Wendy's watching.
Wendy just texted me. You guys are so competitive.
Were you guys texting her? Or
Wendy is watching.
She's watching.
Oh.
She just texted me.
I was
You
like,
guys are
where's
so
she
competitive.
She did the same thing in the math this morning. She's like, "Thompson, where are you?" So confused. Oh, that's not funny.
Are they recording you? Is that what that is?
She's watching.
She's watching live.
Oh, I didn't know somebody would. Oh. I didn't even understand what we were talking about.
Wendy's watching.
Can she hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just texted me that Heather and I are taking.
Yeah.
Have you had that set up all day?
Just
I
different
think
settings.
so.
You're moving around.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hi, Wendy. Did you see me? Where's
Yeah.
the camera? No, not you. It's more your presentation.
Yeah, and I'm
Well,
like,
Does the little dot at the top mean like what the answer? The time frame, is that what it means?
Where?
Like when you play quizzes, you like go
little, like a time thing. There's little dots when you play quizzes. That means when we're students answers, and that's the time.
When you're answering it, or when we review the question, you're saying?
Who has
I
that?
think, I know, but I think each dot's when someone else answered it.
Yeah, like her.
Like when it goes across the time bar, there's a little ping. I think that's other people's time.
Oh. Ooh, that's applicable, yes, that didn't used to have that, so yes.
So now you can know if you're not the
Sure.
Maybe I'm trying to read it so fast, I didn't even know if that was like a cop.
Okay, yeah.
I noticed it because you guys were like, I'm just gonna try to get it right. I'm close. I just didn't go as fast as you guys, which is fine.
So who has used quizzes before?
It's so hard to do.
Not this. No, not this program.
Oh, okay. So you can choose to display the leaderboard or not, like I said. There's, when you, right before you hit play, every time, there's a little toggle bar where you can shuffle questions or not shuffle questions. You can give it as homework instead of as a quiz, where each kid starts whenever they want to start and finishes whenever they want to finish. There's lots of great kind of features right in there. You can have it not show them if they're right or wrong if you wanted to take it more as like a quiz type score. That one. And there's a new great feature to it. So you can always search any quiz. So I started by searching some SAMR quizzes and found some questions. But a new great feature, I don't know how new it is, but new since the last time I made one, you can add a new question, but where you add a new question also lets you search questions. So I can search other SAMR questions and just dump them in. So I actually grabbed like 4 different SAMR quizzes that I saw that people made, and then I just grabbed the questions I liked. So you can filter by, search by content area, by grade level. I've made some from scratch too. They're really easy to make. And those little memes, they have different sets. So you can make your own set of memes if you want, or you can just take the pre ones, or you can take themed ones. So they have different themed ones, especially around some holidays and stuff. You can pick for all your memes to be whatever. I think we need to answer the last question. Yeah.
Okay, help, buddy.
Because then I'll show you the review, the class review at the end, which is grade 2. Right. So if we're reviewing this as a class, then I can scroll 4, 3rd, 7. Sorry,
10 points, 10 missing points.
So this is a great feature to kind of look right at all. So here, most of us got this wrong. So it would be a good question to kind of review. So students work in groups to plan, film, and edit a video project. Videos are shared with their classmates and teacher in Drive so that viewers can.
Why is just Linda's answer up there?
Comment.
She's over your box. She's over your rectangle.
Call me out.
Okay, well, I'll go along. We have redefinition.
Well, I got it right.
We have augmentation. Redefinition. So I really think on here, for me, I think the thing that doesn't make this redefinition is we're not taking our audience out of the classroom. This is still staying in a classroom. So this is just kind of not that throw the box out and start new. I really feel like I always think redefinition has just got to get that broader, all I would need to add to this is and posted on YouTube. Or and shared with a pen pal class. Like I know I've been talking, so the instructional technology coach at Westfield, her and I already talked next year, we're gonna try to do some grade level work. So our 6th grade class, maybe players in the 6th grade class over there, we were talking about trying to coordinate some things where, whether it's some sort of study guide or you have one study pal friend or, I don't know, we have some different ideas, but so that right away takes us out of now, we're not one classroom right here, we're this broader community of people learning. So, and again, like some of them, they are real close. So students use a spell check tool. So I think the thing that takes this out of substitution is once they're using a tool of Google Docs. So Google Docs itself, yes, just substitution. But once I use it to spell check, well, now I've changed the task a little bit. When they're writing, nothing is spell checking them as they're writing. If you're using like speech to type, I think that takes you up a little bit because now you're using that technology to add a little bit to the task you already had. So, I mean, there are some definitely that can be argued either way.
No, augmentation. That's augmentation, right?
Oh, wait, where were we?
When you go from the, you're using the spell check.
Oh, yes, augmentation. What did I say?
Okay.
It should be augmentation.
Yes.
Should be augmentation.
Yes, I think it should be augmentation.
Substitute.
Right, because I think that using the spell check changes it, takes it from substitution to augmentation.
Too, but in that sense too, we've been using, word processing for so long, that doesn't feel new anymore.
Well, it doesn't have to be new.
No, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's, I know
But
that's
it's
why I
the
read it. I'm
use of
like,
the
that's something
technology.
we've done for the last 20 years,
But with technology.
Well, and with technology. I mean, they've been word processing.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's with technology. You know, it's a word processor.
It just
It doesn't have to be a
I
new
think that's
technology.
why, like, when you rank it, like, that's not.
You're like, oh, we already did
We've
that.
done that for
So
20
it's
years.
just substituting what we already did.
Yeah, we've been spell checking our work on Word forever.
But we were using technology to spell check. So
Sure.
instead of,
It just wasn't.
let's see, this one, what half of us got wrong? Technology allows for significant task redesign. So that one is, yes, modification, changing the task. So anyway, this is just, quizzes is fun. This was just meant as kind of a fun little, practicing some of these. I think I did have one more thing now, I can't remember. Yes.
Now, if you do this quizzes.
Yeah.
Do you get this classroom that you just showed us here, this,
I
is
can,
that save any place? Is this a classroom set type thing?
you can download it there in Excel, so like you can download all those answers if you wanted to keep it as like a quiz that'll come out in like a
Because I'm thinking
spreadsheet.
do a pre-test, a post-test,
Oh,
something like that.
yeah.
If you do.
For
do a
sure.
pre-test,
So
then
when
do
I
a
go
lesson,
back in-
and then do a post-test or something.
Also, right here in my account, it's going to keep that. So even though I didn't download that in Excel, I went back into my account and I have all my reports. So I'll have every time that game was played. Will stay in my reports. Yeah. Yeah, and you find a quiz, you search it, you can add them, change the names. It's real easy to use. So if you go back to that Pear Deck tab you had open, I just want, as our 1 minute wrap up, what's the most important thing you're gonna take from today? Is the question on, what'd you say?
I closed it out.
Oops, KCHAM, get back in. Join that meeting.
No, I went.
She won the game. She already won SAMR, so she's not a clear as an expert.
The highlight of my
You get an extra piece of candy. And bragging rights.
I love the why. I love that. Thinking through the why, communicate to the students. So if you guys are going to be here all week, just so you know, you will watch that video one more time because it's going to be one of the opening videos in the morning. Because, I might have found another one. I don't remember. Because I love that video. I seriously watch it all the time. And I get the chills every time. And my daughter's always like, "Are you watching that again?" My daughter's like, "Listen to what I'm saying." I do. I don't know why. I just say really. So focusing on the why, brainstorming new ideas. Because really, in order to change what we've been doing, we need things to be new. Why we do the things, what's the why do we use the technology we use. I love that. Just improving one step up. Just working on one step. I already use technology to substitute here. How could I just change it? I mean, just that. Even telling the kids, use spell check, use the text speech, or throwing comments on it while they're writing. It is so powerful to throw a comment on a kid's paper while they are writing it. I mean, if you have never done it, they freak out. They're like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, just even if I'm in the classroom, they know how to see your spacer got on their page. They're like, oh, this is not fair. Like, you know, if you have a little group working. So
I was at a meeting down in Joliet, and I had a substitute teacher in my classroom, and all of a sudden I just popped on to what they were supposed to be doing. And that's when she says, oh my gosh, Mrs. Adachi's on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's watching what
Yeah,
I'm
they're
doing.
watching right now.
I'm like, yes, I'm everywhere.
Yes. So just a couple more resources on here. This is just kind of for your, you know, long board weekend, you know, to have some great plans. There's some pages here to check out, more resources. This is a Pinterest board that my sister and that teacher, Lisa, I got my instructional tech master's with, who she's awesome. She does all sorts of cool things. And they taught this at one of their summer tech camps. So they put together a Pinterest board of, you know, just a lot of things they had already found that were awesome. So I just linked that there. So those are just kind of all there for you to check out later. So, and you can find this in that resources page on our website. Questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Oh, and Pear Deck. Pear Deck was what I made this in. But Pear Deck is an add-on to slides. Or a website in and of itself. So, yeah, I'm doing Google Drive 101 in here. I don't know if we have anyone who wants to do that, but we thought we'd offer it. Yeah, so Pear Deck, I mean, it's a website in and of itself. So you used to have to go to Pear Deck, import your slides in, but basically Pear Deck added an add-on. Just want to go to the add-on.
I want to win some.
In slides, yeah, go to the
Slides,
Chrome
yeah.
web store.
Or
No, right in slides.
it's like an add.
Click the add-on, drop down, add Pear Deck, and then what it'll do is it'll open,
Well, thank you.
it opens Pear Deck. Oh, thank you, you're welcome.
I'm back.
We missed you.
Can you add a little bit more to Facebook so I can feel like I'm doing something this
I
time?
haven't done anything.
I know, so can you add something so I could see my, I added a picture,
It's really easy.
You did? I didn't see
my
it.
dog, my dog from, or do you, like, it's like 7 years ago, I posted
Click
or
on
something.
it and just.
Oh, wait.
That's all I do is post
It'll
pictures
open
of dogs
right
and
here.
post religious stuff. It's
That's not bad.
basically what I
Puppies
do.
and God, that's not bad.
Yeah,
Always
dog.
can.
God.
God,
Pre-made
keeps you going.
questions they have. Right?
and my puppy's a year old, I can't believe it.
They
And
give
I was
options,
taking
they
pictures
just
every
split
week,
it up
you know, and
into
then I kind of
these
stopped.
They get big
It
and
got
then
winter. So I have to post one
And
soon
then-
of him.
Or you can just
He's a little over
click
60
it
pounds
on
now,
questions. So
so,
like for this page, or like, what do you want?
He's-
Why do you
he's
want to
got
do
a
it?
trips
All you did was click.
you know, no,
Yeah,
the dogs have
text.
really, well,
That's it.
probably did.
And it just gives you the option.
I ordered for the very first time. Got really sick and stuff.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Again, so I'll always-
Barb, are you coming to hang out with me for Google
Yeah,
Drive
I'm so
101?
excited. Yeah, so happy.
Yes.
Paper recycling.
I've been reading all that lately about them mandating like everyone having the same stuff, like everyone knows what gets recycled.
Oh, yeah, you have the lead.
What, crap, make a bit late. Well,
It wasn't chilly this morning.
What?
I'm gonna run in the washroom. I'm gonna check Bodie a second too. Oh, you can sit here too. This. Sit here.
Huh?
So you can sit over here, but you're gonna sit on the milk tree.
I can't, my bad. You could have stayed over there with
No.
red face.
No.
No, like you money.
Nope. And I have all the chocolate.
That's why I didn't get to choose to sit there.
Well, I can't have any more chocolate because I'm going to the show tonight. And I really
Are you with the hubby?
No, no, because I'm having a good
Are
time.
you guys gonna do people club?
Yes.
People club is
I really do not like
funny.
Jane,
She's bored.
she's gorgeous, but she was not nice to me. I'm more so I didn't want to go. Oh, hi. You can share and come over here. Because I'm just sitting here sidelined. I have no-
No, you're not on anybody. You go in and sit around there or
What?
how'd you find her site?
Who?
She's got her site right here.
Feel free. Does it say D10 tomorrow? Or is that the last? I don't know. How did you get to it?
No, but I think
About
on
it
the
back,
website, if you go to
that's
that SAMR
ours,
website,
yeah.
and then under staff, SAMR learning.
Okay, well,
The roundabout way.
Hey, Rose. What? So how did that work out that you were able to order covers? We were gonna, how did that work out?
What do you mean?
The covers you that you ordered from me. Remember how you were saying there weren't gonna be any covers? There were covers.
Jesse came through.
They came through. So when are they gonna be ready?
I have no idea. They aren't even ordered yet.
So they're not ordered yet? So when is that here? Yeah, I was thinking.
Unless she ordered it yesterday, I don't know. Maybe not yesterday, Friday. And she could have, I don't know.
Is it Amazon? Probably.
Yes.
Oh, I think it'll be, I just feel like, I'd rather keep it baby here, yeah.
Nice.
Hopefully they're ordered on Friday and they're like, they're not. Here you go. Hopefully they were ordered and they'll arrive and you can bring them.
They may,
By your ID.
they may,
Oh, I mean,
I had to get it.
I think
But
so.
it's on
There's
Friday.
ways to go out and date it too. There might be other templates out there that are.
So she could turn silent. And call it a zipper.
Never heard of that.
You're middle. You know, turn it to silent.
I've never.
No, I never did.
Okay, good. I'm gonna show tomorrow.
so are you?
In a good way.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
things. How did you get in there?
Go to the website.
Oh, I'm just scared. This whole thing.
Go, yeah.
Here?
So if something is in shared,
Are you in the
is that
website?
also just in your
School's
OneDrive page?
Longer school's website.
Usually you have to go to share.
Because my drive is yours.
Okay. I don't know if this is shared with us. What type is it?
Oh, just got it all. You're little also. But this is
Yeah.
something
Yeah, they go to- you go, yeah.
how was this day? Or, you know, I mean, it wasn't like anything like that. This was just an incident happened. What did happen? What's going on? It's not. And then when you report something like this, you have to run a PDF or
You know, in a few days.
Not quite yet, but I mean, it started okay.
Yeah.
It's so
It's so weird. We're back.
Like in your
We are, so.
Oh, summer learning, summer learning.
Yes. No, it's not.
Oh, wait. Come back here, huh? What?
I don't know how you get into.
See, 2 empty seats.
Heather kicked us out.
Okay.
Because they didn't say
I'm not eating any of those. Summer's more,
I think resources.
but really, I can't. Like, once I give up now, I can't just like go and do it, otherwise I'll just be like, okay, now who cares? So it's really, I have a cheat day though. Or Tuesdays.
It's golden brown here. And I'm not a zipper.
It's funny, I haven't been eating chocolate, so I got this and now.
You're too cute, you guys should talk to them.
I've been doing it for a little.
I got an ugly dog.
Yeah, you're ready. And I have brushes.
I feel like it's like drinking like Jack Daniels for the first time.
Because then,
Don't worry.
So they're like, oh, I need water.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting a little square.
some reasons,
Trying to figure everything
Yeah.
so well, so.
Yeah.
So.
so with last week.
Okay, there are gonna be some things, well, maybe not, did you have to click on new? I don't have a short link for this, but if you go to the, Summer Learning website, it's in the resources page. Any questions about that?
Yeah, every time I'm in a session, I try and go on that, or clicking on the icon, it doesn't bring me to their pages and stuff, so Renata's been sending them to me. So if I'm here on the Summer Learning and I go to do this,
Okay, that's, no, yeah.
and then
sorry,
it
no,
goes
go-
there.
No,
That's
that's bookmarked within the link, so go ahead.
because I've been,
Okay.
how do you get on
This is
stuff?
our website. So click there.
Double click.
Here's the one that's Friday.
Oh,
Does anybody have a MacBook?
oh, okay.
It's like the opposite, right? It's
Oh,
opposite. Because I'm like,
I'm glad I asked you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, everything's on the outside. And so
Oh,
it's on
that's
that
cool.
side.
Okay.
But like, great.
You need that page, because that's where you'll need to fill out your
Yeah.
PPT later.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what I'm looking at.
Yes.
That's where you're
Yeah.
talking
But
about.
it's not your
I
own
have to
grade.
relearn all of
Yeah,
that.
maybe
I
not
know,
like
let's-
this is really say.
Well, let's bookmark the homepage.
I love
So I'm gonna bookmark
Mine
it,
only
so
works
it's right there.
Okay.
So now, whenever you need to go back to the.
I got it.
Go go out and
That's
start.
See?
Yeah, you
Remember we did that?
something about
Your
this.
Google Forms.
And then I don't know how to get these on down here.
It's
Well,
it's still works, so that's it. It works, it just, you've got to plug
Yeah,
it.
you-
Yeah, and I know, it doesn't show you that side of things.
We have new questions.
And I'm not trying to.
Maybe I can get a reward.
One for most things you don't probably use.
Everybody gets a reward.
Okay, so yay, I'm so glad we are all here for Google Drive 101. So if there's anything you already know, I apologize. Everyone's obviously going to be a little bit of a different level. So I have a little part on Google Docs, and then we're going to kind of like share one and get on it and see some different features of it. And then a different part on Google Slides. Again, some of the extra features. We're going to go through some of the different like sharing levels and kind of how that works. And then, we can kind of go, if we want to just stop and explore one thing or questions or whatever, I'm fine with however you want to do it. Because I could go, on and on. We could go to Forms, we could go to Google Slides, we could go to Google Drives. I kind of kept it at Docs and Slides. But if we get through that and there's another tool you want to explore, feel free to ask. So, and I'm like switching sessions a million times today, so I don't always remember what I put on the next slide. So, okay. So first thing, let's all get signed in. Is everyone signed? Everyone probably is signed in. I would guess if you have your summer learning, and if you haven't signed in yet, sign into your drive because we are going to create some things. So I would have one page of your Google Drive open and maybe one page of this. so that as we go back and forth and do some of these things, and I'm actually gonna maybe do that too, but I'm gonna pull this out because I have a whole bunch of tabs open. So, I have this add-on, so my screen does not look like yours right now, but normally your screen would just look like this when you're straight from Google. So I always call these little, I call this the waffle always. So that waffle up there, and with the 3, I call the snowman. So that waffle is going to help kind of get you to all of the places you need to go. All your apps are there. You know, you can get to your calendar, you can get to your mail, and then when you scroll to the bottom, I just updated this again. There used to be another more underneath, but now they just added it.
I just found that out.
I mean, that was literally, the more was there like 2 days ago.
Yes,
No, mine still
because
has.
I kept looking for more.
So you didn't update recently then?
Well, I've been using a loader, so I don't know, I don't have Google Chrome.
But literally right there.
So this is kind of your apps. So you can't get to docs or slides or any of those by typing doc slides, but I kind of work everything through this, that Google app little waffle guy. So we are going to go into Drive.
Wait, you want to?
Good. Okay. And seriously, at any point, like stop me your questions or whatever. I was trying to present this as like the tab, let it be able to walk around. Oh, maybe I'll stretch. Any issues before, so you can turn it around like this. Okay. All right.
Did you share this on Drive?
Okay, so we're going into Google Drive.
Yes.
And did you share this?
No, if you go through the Summer Learning Camp
I
website,
did, she's got it. And go back to your,
mhm,
yeah,
then in resources.
right.
What
She
is
already
that?
has, she already has it together.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I didn't know if you shared it in this all in the Drive.
Okay. Okay, so folders. Folders are how you can organize. So I'll just show you my Drive because I always need to organize more. So at the bottom, you will see everything's not neatly in a folder. All this stuff down here is stuff like I need to get to later and find a spot for. But I have folders inside a folder.
And you make folders by going to My Drive.
So
New folder, okay.
yes, so when you go to new, you get folders there. You can upload files from your computer. So this is where you already have a Microsoft Word document, for example. You go to new file upload, and then you can open that same Word document as a Google Doc. It works for PowerPoints to slides, and it works for Excel to sheets as well. So if you already have a PowerPoint that you like to use, you want to keep using it, you know you're going to keep using it, or at least use the bones of it or something, you would new file upload, and then once that PowerPoint's in Google, if you go to open it, it's just going to say, do you want to open this as a Google slide? And it'll convert it. Sometimes some weird formatting things happen here and there, but then you can fix it from there rather than starting from scratch. Do you have a question on that? Or
So when
Yeah, tons of questions. Okay.
when school starts again, I have my desktop, I can convert, because I have like this lot of.
A whole folder.
Okay, so I just do that later.
You can you can from your desktop, click the folder, you can have a Google tab open, and you can drag it right in your Drive. So you can drag it right until you are anywhere in here in this space. So I can take that whole folder, drag here, and let go. And it'll just, you'll see a little running tab. Document 1 of however many you have in that folder, and you walk away, and they'll just put them all in your Google.
And then I'll have to organize all of that.
It'll come in the folder you already have it in, but then, yeah, you might wanna go through and be like, oh, this, don't want any more of this thing, but yes.
Can you sort it by date?
Of what you have in your drive?
So, no, so like, that happened to me, I took a whole stack of, reports that I had, and I put it into a particular folder on the Google Drive. And how I would organize it in Windows is I would just click on the Windows folder and organize it by date, so it would come up with the most recently modified first. Google doesn't do that. It does, or I haven't found a way that it does that. Do you
Okay, so,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's why I was trying to click on this to see if it could do it.
Yeah,
So,
you,
yes.
like if I go to less
So-
modified, it just.
That means it wasn't working.
I wonder if because you imported them all at the same time, if that's the last.
Oh,
modification
Google's
date.
gonna say yes.
That's what happened,
Google
yes.
thinks you modified them all
It
on the
did.
same
And
day.
so it all
Yes,
came, I'm
Google
like,
can't
that
read.
does not help me.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna be able to read when you last typed it in Word. Eventually that problem will go away, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But as a start, no. This is also where you create your new files, whether they be blank or from templates. And I'm going to show you templates as well. So that new gets you to all of those things. Oops.
You can do all that from Drive, you don't have to go into each separate.
Correct.
Got it.
So yes. Okay, so this, I'm figuring out this tablet mode. Yeah. Go back. So yeah, you don't have to go to Google Doc and click new Google Doc. From here,
You can find all that.
right, I can find all of that. And then there's also going to be, so doc sheet slides, but then here's where you get all your other maybe lesser known Google apps. Forms, drawings, Google My Maps, which become my virtual reality. I'll talk about that. Google Sites, and these other things are add-ons I have. So you might not have anything underneath that. That might be as many as you have. Okay. I'm just gonna keep going back and forth to my presentation just because I put the presentation there to organize my thoughts, because otherwise I could just go all through Drive to
That's great.
click on things. Yeah, Barb?
People shared stuff, because I was doing.
I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna get into a whole thing on sharing.
Oh, but I was saying, I have all this stuff from kids, and it's like invaded my
You can delete it.
thoughts. And they're all like Google presentations on health topics that we were doing, we were teaching, so I leave that there, but it's like, I feel like overwhelmed.
Okay, we
by
can
it
talk about how
because
you have
it's
to
so
share,
big.
because if they submit in Google Classroom, they automatically go into a Google Classroom folder.
No, they sent me emails sharing
Right,
it
so
that
I'm
way,
saying,
so.
maybe we need to talk about how they're sharing them. Because if they just submit them in Classroom, then they'll just go into a Classroom folder.
Right.
Already. That might be, I'm saying going forward, that might be the better route.
Right.
Right now, if you delete them from your share with me, though, it doesn't delete from the kid, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they don't, and do they know I deleted everything?
No.
Okay. Oh my gosh. You did.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
She doesn't follow me anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next page I wanted to go through the two views. So I'll show you how to click change between the two views. It's a matter of preference for how you like to view them. You'll see I view in grid, but you can view in list. People definitely view in list. So here's just kind of a quick picture of those two, but I'll go back over to my Drive and click between them so you can, or you can click between them on yours. So grid makes all these little folders, you know, kind of like this, and then you have to click into them to see anything else. List just lists all your folders and then gives some information about them. This gives you some details or activity on a certain file or a certain folder. So clicking between the views right here. So now it's in list. So you'll see folders, you can see who originally owned them, when they were last modified. Again, it's kind of a personal preference, I guess. I prefer grid view, maybe just because I have lots of stuff. And so I need to kind of see all my folders. And then I also color code some. So this other though activity here, this I. So let's go to, so if you want to click on top of any one of your folders, so not click into it, but just so click so it's highlighted. Or if you don't have any folders, you can just watch mine. Or if you just have a document. And then you, this little view details, you can see two things. You can see activity that's happened. So I shared an item. You can kind of scroll through if somebody else made something. I edited an item. I edited an item. So I did most of the things in this folder. I can also click over to details. And that just shows you where it's located, who owns it, when it was last modified. I leave this activity thing up kind of a lot. I guess it depends on what I'm working on. So that just kind of gives you some information about the folder or the file.
Now, within that, can you put them in order of when the video was taken? Like I have.
When they were in Google, or so
Yeah,
not how Melissa was saying, but yes, if they were made in Google. Yeah, so if I open this folder, so for instance, 7th grade field trip, I'm gonna double click so it opens. So I have a whole bunch of stuff in 7th grade field trip.
Mm-hmm.
I can put it in list view and then see how it's last modified. So last modified will be when it entered the folder or when I last typed on it. And I can sort it by how it was modified via me, or the last thing I opened. So depending on what you're trying to do with it, that might be.
Because I have all these dances and videotapes, and I want to make sure I didn't double up because I was taking them off my phone or my camera. So forget that's fine.
I can look it up and see if there might be another better way to do that.
Because like when I was saving stuff, I had so many dances, you know.
Okay. So this is in Google Docs now. So we're gonna go make a new Google Doc. So the one thing I really, really want to stress is as soon as I hit new in Google Doc, you want to title it right away. Everything in Drive is searchable by the title. If you title it some like, 5-6 lesson, next year you go to look for that, 5-6 means nothing to you. So you want to think about those titles. For instance, all my stuff for D10 Summer Learning Camp, I was like, D10 Summer Learning Camp, final responses. D10 Summer Learning Camp, babysitting. D10 Summer Learning Camp, website. Because I knew when I was going into Drive and I needed to find that thing, I was going to type up there at the top, D10 Summer Learning Camp, and everything I need was going to come up. Well, I know I have brand stuff. So just thinking about how you're titling it. So I want you to go to the new, and I want you to make a Google Doc. And I want you to title it to practice, because we're going to do something with this.
The new glasses. I don't like it. A lot of it. I'll make it newer, I should say. Those were. Oh, I got Costco. Maybe I can't see it all.
While we're getting that, or if you finish that, I want to show you, because you may you may always just click right there and not go over further to this arrow. But if I go over to this arrow next to the Google Doc before I open it, you can get that blank one, which is what you open, just a blank one. Or I want you to look at what from a template gives you. Because there are some great things there that if you never click on that, you just may not know they exist. So the first thing you're going to see in the template gallery is the Itasca School District 10. You're also going to get this little submit template. So if there's something your team uses frequently, something your school uses frequently, something you want everyone to type in the same way, you can make this template and submit it. So for instance, this letterhead. I had so many people keep asking me where to get the letterhead from. So I made it a template. So if I go new Google Doc from template and I click this, I'm gonna get the letterhead. And then I can type it. Well, that was great. Did we do that?
Yeah, the little icon that was troublesome.
Find it.
I don't know how to get to the gallery. Is there something that?
So when you go to Google Doc, you're gonna go to the arrow. So if you go scroll down a little bit further, you're gonna see on the Google Doc, the Itasca 10 gallery, we were trying to make some team notes kind of standard template. So this is a team note template. I then kind of changed that up a little bit to make like a committee template. So if you're having a committee meeting, again, not something, you have to use, but if you click on that, what you'll see basically is it's gonna open everything that's there for you and then you can type on top of it. So it just kind of starts with, again, if you're typing something in a very similar format all the time, make it a template. And anyone can get at it. There's also general templates. If you go to general, these are things already built into Google. So these exist for docs, for slides, for forms, and they're just kind of different layouts. So you have to play with those to see if there's any that are helpful for you, but they are there. So every time you go to open a new thing, templates is an option. Let me back over my slides. Okay, naming your files, we got that. Okay, so docs can also be downloaded as different types of files. So if we go to that practice document you have open, and you go over to the file menu, and you go down to download as, you'll see all the different things you can download your Google Docs as. So this is where now if you have a new Chromebook, the Chromebooks have very limited space to save things on because there's no, it all runs online. So you can download, but it's not like your computer where you can download and download and download and download and download and then have all these things to go back to later. Eventually, some of those first things you download are just going to go away because you're going to run out of space because there's just very limited space because Chromebooks are all meant to run on the cloud. So you can download, you can definitely, I mean, you don't have to worry about it. Like I download JPEGs all the time and then use them when I'm making a presentation. I've never run into the issue where my first one was gone, but just don't think of it as permanent storage. It's not storage for later down the road, unless you're on a desktop or a laptop. But you can download, and so it'll convert from your Google Doc back to Word if you need it. From your Google Doc to PDF. I would say those are the kind of couple you're going to use the most, is PDF or Word. One cool thing about this download, if you have a Google Slides and you download it as a PDF, well, now all of a sudden your Google Slides looks like an ebook. And so people do that, and then now you have a digital copy of, what looks like an ebook that you could scroll through if you were doing one slide. So,
Why would we want to do this though, really? I mean, is it a reason why we would really want to do
well,
this?
I share
like,
PDFs all the time to people.
So you have to give it to someone else that doesn't have Chromebook? Is that the reason
well,
why?
They don't have to have a Chromebook, but for instance, on our website, we like to put up PDF documents sometimes for parents of information.
So is this like if you type up a Google Doc and you want to send it to parents, you don't want them to be able to change it? A PDF is usually why you would do that, so that people don't have those editing rights.
Yeah, you can also give them view only option. Right. So, but it just kind of depends. If you give somebody a Google Doc view only option, so you give me a Google Doc view only, I can go in and file make a copy of it.
Right.
And now I own it. And I can change it and I can do whatever I want to. So there are instances where you maybe don't want somebody to be able to do that. You would make it a PDF and then they can't change it. I mean, there's, unless they have like Adobe Acrobat Reader, there's ways to edit PDFs now, but you shouldn't. The PDF basically says, this is my document, this is how I want it. You don't have the rights to change it. Yeah.
But usually this week's.
All changes, so checking and restoring version history, we're gonna do something first before we check and restore version history, because there's not gonna be any to check right now. But if you go to file, that's also where you can see your version history. And we're gonna kind of type on a document and then look at the version history, so you can kind of see that with things on it. But that's where you can also restore version history. So if somebody else maybe messed something up. And then the last thing I just want to show you, all changes are saved. So right here, up top, you're always going to see all changes saved. Sometimes you're going to see saving, and then it'll switch to all changes saved. So there is a save button. If you need it for your peace of mind, look up there, and it'll say all changes saved. So that's just kind of a continuous, ongoing thing that's happening. Okay, so with that partner document, or practice document, sorry, I want you to find a partner or a group of three, however you want. Partner A is going to be the owner, partner B is going to be the collaborator. So we're just going to share it to your partner. So you're going to go to your practice and you're going to share. Now, you can change this little drop down, and this is in the slide if you want to look. So type something and give your partner commenting rights and see what that looks like. Type something, give your partner editing rights. You can change those rights or type something and just give your partner viewing rights, which however you want to see how that works.
Can you change it after you give like a
Yes, you can give her editing rights and then go in and take it away.
or vice versa?
Yes.
Right, or give her
viewing rights and then she can say,
Do you have to share it again or no?
No, you're going to go into your share. When you go to your share, this will pop up and her name will be here. You'll click on it.
Okay, but if we all call it.
Yeah. So after you share it, see, you go to the share button again,
when you
but it doesn't actually send them a new.
Okay, it just changes their access.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, here it is, it's just summer learning. Or that's not.
That's what I did go with. So when I go back in to find
I don't
out
know
what
what
it is.
Yes, you are not allowed to share without a title.
Oh, and then did you give me view only?
I'm so just go back and I can request that.
Oh.
And then I'm gonna go try to go back in.
I never
She never said her email.
I should
Say,
say,
I could request edit access.
That's all.
Just say,
It's us.
one way or the other.
Really? Well, they're requesting. Oh, it is? Okay.
I got it.
Share it.
There you go. Now, you're gonna go here. And you're gonna and then you're gonna say Ken. But I see. And she has the shirt.
Not yet.
Or I thought I did.
So
And I was like, I didn't care.
Oh,
You don't have to. Yeah.
So we had to find the link.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. You're like, wait, what? I know. Well, then we were,
All right.
Oh,
You're a little.
I got it.
Aren't you?
Well, I know the comments on
My father's all empty.
I see.
So now, the emoji has an update. It's gonna be on the screen now.
Oh, okay. It says like.
You know,
And that's.
Because literally the article was now.
she's already got it.
Yeah, you and your friends are now not sharing.
It's like I said.
Yeah. Or something like that, it's like exactly what I said.
What?
So how do you even get it to
Go back there.
It's an extension on my Chrome.
Right.
So if you have it.
Okay.
I'm not on my.
So are we okay on that kind of a little bit of sharing? We're gonna do a big group collaboration here in a second too, so. I was gonna have you switch, but I think you guys kind of played back and forth, so, we'll just go into the next group.
Or if you just give me Chrome extensions.
So-
Okay.
And then you just started. And that's what you went over.
So on sharing, so there's all levels of sharing here. When you have that little lock private, you haven't given it to anyone. What we just did was sharing with specific people. So you shared it to a person. You can also, I want you to click that share so that you see. And you have to click on it and go into advanced, I think it's called. Yeah, in the bottom right. And you will get some other options. You can share it with a link to everyone in Itasca 10. So now you don't have to, you can just post that link anywhere, but only Itasca 10 people can open it. You can also have it searchable in your domain. You can share it to anyone with a link. This is super important because this is going to be your biggest issue when you send things to parents. If you don't check first that it's shareable to anyone with the link. Because your parents won't be able to open it because they don't have an Itasca account. Somebody on the web can't search it though and find it. So they can't Google your summer practice learning Google Doc. However, if you go to here, they could. Somebody else could go on the web and type summer learning practice. And your document could come up. It's a link available to anyone and anyone at all. So the difference between those is me not knowing you can search your link and find you. So people do that all the time with like different presentations. I mean, I don't know how many presentations, but I was like, Google Drive 101, where do I start? I Googled it. And I looked at some other kind of formats and important parts so that I hit them all. And then I kind of made my own from this. So those are your different, any other questions about any of the different sharing permissions?
So normally we just keep it on Itasca 10, unless we're sharing it with parents, then we need to switch it.
Correct, as soon as it goes outside of your domain. Parents, friend, like, you know, on Twitter I put things I have to change up. If you have it on your website for any reason, you probably want anybody with the link. I have some things on the website though that are still only Itasca 10. So like I have a link to, you know, my Google Form appointment link. I still have it just Itasca 10. So. Okay. So sharing and moving. I saw a lot of you guys jump over to your email when somebody shared you a document. And that is one way to get it. But regardless of you getting that email, you can also find it right here in your shared. So I want you to go back to your Google Drive and click on the shared with me link. And find that, and you should be able to find that same document. And so here's something that's kind of important about your shared drive. If it's something you're going to use a lot, you can drag that document into your My Drive and leave it there. So for example, our tech committee, I made a shared folder that was tech committee, and then in it I've been putting everything inside of it. So I shared that with everyone. But if you want to go back and keep getting it frequently or see it without it getting bogged down in your shared of all these other documents, you can go over to your shared. All you do is pick up whatever it is. So I'm going to grab, what was this? This was something Kristen Clegg shared earlier. So for instance, if you were in that math session with Kristen Clegg or a session where you wrote somebody's bit.ly and you want to keep this presentation, you don't want it to go away, you want to keep it forever, you just take it and you drag it until you're on top of your My Drive, and then you let go. And now it lives in your drive. You can find it again. You can use it again.
Julie, when I'm clicking around and it says get the shareable links, it's always telling me things are on the clipboard. What's the clipboard?
So when you hit Control-C or copy, there's like this clipboard that's waiting for you to go paste it somewhere.
Oh,
It's waiting for you to go Control-V or paste.
Okay.
It's not, it doesn't, you don't actually see it. But what happens is sometimes, like especially in Word or things like that, if you're shut down programs, it's going to say, you have things on your clipboard, you want to clear them? It's just going to say, when you open it again, you can't Control-V anymore. That thing you Control-C is, I'm not going to remember it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Completely. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so that's one way to add it to your drive. The other way is you can add a drive. I'm going to have to open a different one. You can add any document to your drive. Based on a little icon. So you're going to get a little icon right next to this title here. So see how that has like a little, so this one I already put in my drive. This one, oh, maybe I already put that one in my drive too. Shoot. Here's something I'm almost positive is not in my drive. Yes. So you're going to see this little drive with a little plus. If you're in a doc or a slider or something, that little drive with the plus is going to be there. That does the same thing. Clicking on that puts this document, adds it to your drive. And actually, when you click it, it's even going to say, you want to organize that right now? And I go, yes. Otherwise, I have no idea where it is later. And then I'm going to go in there and I'm actually going to click the folder I wanted to put that picture in. And then sometimes from there, I'm going to go in that folder because then I have another one. And then when I'm done with this is where I want it, then I click move here. So now that was something that was shared with me, but now it lives in my drive. So I want to go find it later. I can search it. I know where it is. I can find it. Because your My Drive and your shared are two different spaces. They don't see each other. If you think you had something and you searched it in your drive but you can't find it, you might want to go over and search in your shared. Okay, so the next page, collaboration. You can see who is in your document. You can see where they are. You can see who typed what in version history. So I want to show you that. You can see who has looked at it. This is a very new thing that you can actually see that just somebody even opened it. If you emailed somebody a Google document, so I'll show you that. You can comment on a certain section, which I know I saw some of you guys practicing with that, so I know some of you guys know how to do that. And then you can also start a chat with the people in your document. So click there to Let's Practice Together. I have an open link for anyone to get into. And then we'll all be in the same document. And then I just made this so that we can all find a line and type on it. And then we can kind of look at our version history. So pick a line and type. And if somebody else is already typing on that line, switch another line. Or add a line. So I'll add some lines right now.
Where we are? Oh.
Yeah, sometimes if you're loading slowly, you might be typing on top of something else.
Ah, mother. We're getting building. Yeah, I'll make some.
Where were you at to get into that? So
I was
Hey, Becky, get it right line.
I was there first.
We'll share. Yeah.
We'll come there in a second.
We'll share. It's really funny because you did not pop up on mine at all until just now.
I better.
are they being nasty or nice or?
Hey, Brooke, right?
So I'm going to tell you, I do this. I used to always do this at the beginning of each quarter in my class because I would have it projected and I'm teaching them a couple of things. I can see you. I can see everything you're doing. I'm going to show that I can see when you messed up your friends, I can see that was you. And I'm going to be watching. So I used to make some sort of table at the beginning where they signed up for like their Chromebook number that I'd print out later and have it hanging. But you know, you can have them sign up for whatever, their number, if they get called in a certain order for something or computer or something. So I would just make a little table, they had to put their name in it. Then I also would do, now you get 1 minute to change the color, change the font, do whatever. Because the other thing they do is they figure out really quickly who else knows how to change colors, and then they ask them, and then they figure it out, and then they're not asking you later, how do I change the color, how do I change my font, how do I change, and so they, you know, some of them get a picture in there really quickly and do fancier things, and then they go to that kid when they need help. So, and I always project it, and so we kind of. They're at 10.
So we can't screw with her. I know, I was looking for yours to mess with.
Does anyone need me to add a line, or do we have enough? We good?
Yeah, headline, let Rose put it.
No, I'm not doing it, I'm just watching.
Well, Barb is on Brooke's line.
That's all right, Becky and I shared, we're good.
We're good? Okay. Okay, so I then always go over here with the kids and go over to my version history. So when I click to see version history, it's going to say, look, all of these people were typing. It's going to assign you each a color, and it's going to highlight the things you typed. So if Vicky was typing Renata, I would see it right here. I would say, wait a second, that was not you. I can see that Brooke was not messing around and adding smiley faces because I told her not to, and I can see instead that was, is that Barb? Yeah, I would have to look a little bit at the color. Either way, again, I would always just use this. Sometimes you do actually want to go back and look at this. But I would just use this at the beginning all the time with, look, again, I can see everything. So this is also where you can restore version history. So now, hey, we had this project, we did all this stuff yesterday, and then we went home, and now it's all gone. Well, somebody did something to it. It's not just all gone, and you can go back to yesterday at 10:13. This is also where you can see what time your kids typing this paper. So I like, oh, I've been working on it, but I haven't finished yet. Really? Even when were you working on it? Because again, in that version history, you can see how many times they got on it, what time it was when they got on it. So I could click here, and then, okay, this is how I left it yesterday at 10:13, and if I want to, I can just give this version a name. Like, so for instance, if I was going to use this over and over again, I could give this start, and I could restart it all the time if I needed to, or I could just restore this version. So I could say, you know what, they just messed all of that up. That's not how I wanted this to look. And or I can make a copy of it. So I get a second one.
But shouldn't we all see what you see or no?
No, not right now, because I'm looking at version history. You can look at version history. If you go to File, Version History, you're looking at your document. I'm looking at the version history of that document.
So now can you you're not looking at what that
Here.
final.
This is what it looks like right now.
Okay, yes, that's what mine looks like.
Yeah. I was looking at the version history.
Got it.
The other new thing that's kind of cool is this, it's in Tools. And it's called the Activity Dashboard. And again, this is something out within the last couple of weeks. So I'm not necessarily sure of all the uses. There could be for this. But the one thing you can do is look at exactly who's looked at it and when they looked at it. So even if these were just directions you were sending out or something like that, you could see everyone that has opened it and when they did, which is really funny. Oh, Tools, Activity Dashboard. Tools, Activity Dashboard.
That's an email right from here. Mine says you can send an email right from this too.
From?
Yeah, my activity dashboard. But it's not coming up on yours for some reason.
Who it's shared with if you go to that first section.
What, this is new, isn't it?
And then she can share it with herself.
Email you.
Oh, maybe because you can't.
Oh,
I
I own
email
it.
you.
Yeah.
So
Because I
I
own
can
it.
email you,
So
right?
you
from
could
this.
email the owner of that
Right
document.
from
It
the
doesn't tell you a
yeah.
time. So when I was just kind of messing around with stuff last night, I was on the D10 course catalog, and so, you know, it was really fun to kind of see, ooh, within the last hour, this person, are looking at the courses. These are all the people that have opened it and looked at it at least one time. So I know Peacock people, the Charger Chatter might look like this next year, because then I can see people open for Charger Chatter. Just FYI, she won't tell you. It's like, oh, I can see people looked at something when I emailed it. She's like, don't teach that to anyone, so you're the first to know. Sorry. Oh, they looked at you.
Oh, she's you?
She's fine, yeah.
She's happy.
No, she pooped.
She pooped.
Oh,
Oh, they're
we don't change.
It's
It's like the gym.
They don't, it's like they don't buy windows.
Our gym, my gym doesn't change the line. It's fine, too. It's always fun. Okay, so that was all I was kind of going over on docs. The collaboration stuff works the exact same way on slides, on sheets, on drawing, on a Google form. It's a little weird, a little different, just because you can't share different permissions. You can't let somebody just view your Google form. You would have to send them the link to it, but we're not teaching a Google Forms this week, are we? Oh, we're not at the top.
We're not at it.
Oh, okay, all right. So anyway, if you want to do more with Google Forms, you can go to Renata or myself. But really, all your other Google things, other than forms, because just a few weird things, kind of work that sharing the same way. You can always go look at a version history. You can always restore a version history. You can always see who typed what. Google Slides also has the activity dashboard, just like Docs. You can see if somebody opened. Oh, the one part we didn't say was the chat. Sorry. So the chat section. So right now, I can see all these people. Sorry, go back to the practice. I can see all these people are in it right now. So if I was in this right now, for instance, C and I were doing this a lot when making things for summer learning camp. We were making something, and I'm like, ooh, she's in it right now. I would click on show chat, and then, and then we would be like, hey, what are you doing right now? What can I do to help? Where can I help? What can I? And so a little chat box shows up over here of all the people that are on this document right now, and we could type back and forth to each other. Again, that could be done as a comment as well. It just kind of depends on what you're doing. In comments, we didn't go over. So for those of you who, I know I saw some of you guys doing comments, but you just highlight anything you want to comment on. And then this little add comment box will pop up. A really cool thing about comments that they added somewhat recently within the last year, if I want to tell Barb to do something in this comment, like I want to be like, hey, I just add a little at, and then look, all my Tasca people come up. So at, I'm going to say, Barb, can you fix this? So now there's all these people in this document, but what it's going to do is it's actually going to send in, I'm going to assign it to her, and it's actually going to send her an email too, and say, hey, you just got assigned this task, and she's actually going to have to click resolve when she's done. It'll pop up on, she'll have that option to resolve it, like who I fixed it, so she can resolve. Link go away. Or I guess. Okay, any other questions about any of that before I go on to, I'm just gonna hit a couple of the features on slides because we have what, 10 minutes? So I'm just gonna, maybe in 5 minutes, probably should finish up just using some raffles. So I'll go through a couple of quick things in slides. Obviously we're in slides right now. So I'm not gonna have you create a new one again, just because we're in 5 minutes so that you can have 5 minutes to do the raffle. So I'm just going to show you, I guess, a few things in slides. In slides, when I go over to this plus sign, I can hit new slide, but I can also slide right over to this drop down. And it can give me a layout. Hey, do I want to open a new slide that looks like this to type into? Look like this, looks like this. So it just kind of presets out some templates for you. You can also type your words, type your stuff, and this explore button here is really cool. Because if you just had plain words and then you clicked that, it's going to give you all the options. Oh, so mine's not plain. Oh, here's plain words. So it's going to give you I'm going to just insert an image really quickly, which, by the way, always search your images. I'm not going to get to this part, but search them right in slides or right in doc because it's going to automatically search images that are copyright free and available to reuse because Google already has those settings pulled up for you. Okay, so I'm just going to put a car and then I'm just going to type some just so I can show you how this Explore works. So see how Explore now is saying, okay, all you have is a word and a picture on your whole slide. Here's some ways to make that pretty. And you can just pick one. So you don't have to do the making it pretty. That little Explore button, so again, I'll close that so you can see where it is. It's just right here on your slide. We'll say, okay, with that one word and one picture, these are the recommended layouts. And you can scroll through and be like, oh, that looks nice. I'll do that. And then bam, there's your slide. And look how pretty it is. And all I did was like insert a picture word. I did not make it look pretty. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a I don't know if the videos could be at the board meeting this Wednesday, but we had the update on the Benson and Franzen technology stuff, and so Craig and Steve typed some things out. And I don't know if you guys have seen other presentations at the board meeting, but they're not always so pretty. They're just like word. Yeah. So I went through and I totally hit Explore on all the slides. And they're like purple, so I'm not going to be there. So somebody watch Ben present his slides because I added things. And I didn't add anything. All I did was hit Explore on all of the slides. It was so boring. And I won't be there. This will be great.
You did
So,
Craig's slides?
yeah.
Oh,
I like to take a picture of that.
Yeah, I can show you that. I have them here. So that's the Explore. That's a great feature that I think is not often used on slides. All the share settings is just kind of, they're all the same. This is where I was going through in pictures for your images, insert right from here. You can upload, you can go to your Google Drive and insert an image straight from your Google Drive, or you can search, like I said, and those Google permissions are going to be built in so that you're only searching images that you can and should be using. Oh, that was the last. So that was kind of it. Down here, especially if you just got your Chromebook, we'll be talking more about this at Franzen real soon. But if you click right there, I also have just like a little Chromebook 101 that we taught out last year. So just kind of some pictures of the keys and what it looks like. I'm not going to get into it right now, but if that loads. So you can look at that at your leisure, but it kind of just points out there, like all the different kind of keys and what they do and the ports and how it's different from a laptop. So feel free to just know that's there for your reference. I'll put that in the resources page too.
Where was that Explore option? What did you do?
In a slide. So my slide you're looking at is probably view only. Oh, okay, so you're in a slide. So did you use a template? Okay, so if you used a template, it's going to think you already have a template you're using. So if you just put picture, word, without all this, and type something.
Right.
Okay.
And then it'll give you.
So this is before you even type something. It says this, but if you put things in, then it'll take the things you have and those.
Yeah.
All right. Any other quick questions? Let me give you your raffle tickets, so that you can go put your raffles in
So,
the bucket.
how do you throw anything away? There's no garbage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know where the garbage
So
is.
here, from here, you can move to trash.
Comes in the middle.
Or from drive itself, you can just,
Well, I don't have Chromebook, so.
and trash it by removing, okay, same, right click trash. Or you can drag it over and let go of it when it's on your trash can.
Here. There's no trash. Oh.
So it's a good idea to like delete stuff that people share with you that you don't want, because or else it's forever like clogging things up.
I just don't ever go in there. I actually grab the things I want on my share, pull them in my drive, and I don't look at them. No.
Yeah, the right.
What did you say?
So this year, I just don't have to worry about it.
No, I just ignore it. I just don't focus on things. I mean, I pull all the things I want into my mind drive.
And you leave the rest of your signatures.
Yeah, the rest of I don't worry, I'll use my share. If somebody shares something with me, and I know I'll use it, even if it's from outside, I want it, and drag to my. And then I'm very, very good. Yeah, but I leave you on.
When you, resources that are.
Yeah, I can.
No, I'll leave that website. You know what, I'm gonna link that to my website, which you can get to the site. You could bookmark that website so that you, if you're gonna be going back to it frequently, I don't know, maybe it's something near very level. If you click the corner, they'll open it in Drive, and it's just a folder that is presentations, and then you could pull that folder into your.
Thanks, Julie.
Thanks, Julie. It was great.
Huh?
Bye, guys. See you now.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'll show it to you. I'll show you the first one. I looked back to see if he had changed it yet. He hadn't, because I had looked at it today for something.
You won't see it beforehand?
I don't know.
You assume not?
No, I was supposed to add slides to it. I added slides and made his look pretty. So like this was just, I literally just hit explore on every page.
Yeah.
What I wanted.
And that's a cool thing.
Because you just get to hide out. They just words.
Yeah. Or they take forever.
Move around.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Alright, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah. Bye, you guys. See you tomorrow.
His question slide literally just said, his slide just said the word questions, right in the middle of a big white slide, just said question. Look at this chair.
Find out.
Slides 3 and 4 are the ones I made, and then I just changed the rest. Oops.
We have to go across the way.
Just to drop your raffle, other than that, we don't have any closings today, we're just doing opening.
Thanks, Julie.
Thursday, and after the last session.
I think I barely put anything into that one.
That's fine, there'll be, we'll
We'll call it even.
oh, I didn't think about that, but because
I gotta work on
people are coming only half a day or this or that, and so we couldn't do them until the end.
Yeah.
Oh, what about our daily, we'll have to do daily raffles in the morning, so if you did shout out for sharing, still grab your friends, nominate them, and then in the morning we'll pull that.
We're live right here, you know.
Oh yeah, hey Wendy, I don't know if you're still watching.
Someone will.
That is so cool.
Wendy,
That
answer.
is,
Hair deck?
Renata, where you go?
I'm gonna go
Like
down
on
this
the
hall.
split.
You put this in the Starbucks?
Like what raffle numbers?
I see.
I
just had to enter something.
How are we doing that trip?
I thought we could just have it like show and then like do a raise your hand or video
want it to be more like techy.
So we should put.
Maybe ask Julie if she remembers the thing where you hold up the cards with like the symbol on it, and then you take your phone and scan.
Oh,
Is that
Yeah, so you don't have to have a login or anything, you just give people the true or false. And they hold up the true, and then you take your phone and the owner of it, do you remember that? We were in the library and someone, you saw it, and someone just took their phone.
So do you wanna like do those 2 slides and then cover the rest of it?
Yeah, and I added this visual.
Okay.
Do you like it? I feel like it gave a good process.
So we'll cover whichever slides we put in.
Yeah.
That works.
And then I still have to add to those.
Alicia did this one.
I did that one.
Did Alicia
Oh,
do this
Alicia maybe put, oh, maybe. she
Alicia
put the
did
words
this
in.
one and this one minus that. She did those 2,
Okay,
just so you know.
oh, that's good to know, I thought you put that.
Oh my gosh.
I'm pumped for the tier 1 presentation, and then I'll get pumped for the other, and then I'll re-pump for the FBA.
I'm gonna pump it up,
Yeah.
okay, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie,
Clickers.
just to let you know.
You're welcome. Clickers.
Clickers?
Click. P. Clickers. And you print out the paper. You're the only one with the technology, right? Not sure about. Clickers.
Yeah, so we have it on like on
And
our
they go
phone
like this,
or
yeah.
iPad or something,
Clickers.
clickers.
Clickers? Clickers.
Click.
Plug. Clickers is a powerfully simple tool that lets teachers collect real-time information assessment data.
So we give them cards, and
You
then.
print them from Clickers.
That word every time.
I might not be able to do it because I have a laptop.
You still sign up in Google. Oh, you're saying to print?
Well, to do anything.
I think you can.
No, just click the sign up in Google.
Oh, I can't.
Just click your- Just X that out. It's just giving you like a tutorial.
Oh.
Card options.
Should we, that's where you want to put the cards.
So we would use your iPhone.
You have to download the app, the Clickers app, so your phone would be a better option.
I have a
Yeah.
Samsung. Do you have an iPhone?
Well, does it do the, like, what apps can you download?
It's Clickers. So go to your cards.
Standard. Sorry, it's a durable one. So standard one.
That's like if you buy it.
Yeah, so we just want
Standard, 40 cards.
And then you buy them,
one
one
is
is
true, one is false. Yeah, so they're the same, right? Yeah, so one is true, one is false, is that how it is?
Are there 2 on a card or is it one? Like on a paper?
So I bet it goes to the folded in half.
Oh, so we can just print out the first page then, because it has 2.
Well, you would need for
However-
each group or each
Right,
person,
yeah,
however
each
you want to
person,
do it.
whatever. Right?
Yeah.
So that it's like 10 people in our group. You take one of these, hold it in half. Do you think it's true? They hold it up.
You hold it one way and if it's.
Yeah, so I need to get clickers on here.
On my phone. Do you have it?
I don't do that.
I'm not too have to.
Let me see if they'll let me get it.
I'm not a
Sometimes
Samsung, I'm an Apple.
I know you are.
So
That's why I'm thinking.
what's your, are you the Google store? Or no? Android? Or what is it? Google Play, Clicker?
It says it's still.
So who had Wendy set up here? Somebody, I'm assuming she's not watching anyone? I don't know.
No idea. Okay, it's gonna stop. So if that works, we'll do it this way.
Then how do we, like, we have to connect
I added
it?
3 templates related to the Google iTask forms gallery.
Well, you just made me, I wasn't ready to clean everything up.
Let's see. No, that's not mine. the chairs and stuff, because everyone will be back tomorrow. I think they'll hold it for you. You said you don't have to be here because you're winning it.
Starts watching it anymore, but.
So if we create a new class and call this FBA presentation.
Yeah.
I think we have to put like everyone's name in there though, because then we assign them a card.
Mrs. Weeks, can you come to the office? Thank you, Mrs. Weeks.
Because I think what you do is you put their name in and then you assign them a card, and then when you print the cards, that's how it knows. Like they hold up that card and you're like, oh, it's Bob. Maybe I'll just do another poll everywhere or a Kahoot.
Yes, is that the one where you have to hurry up and answer?
The Kahoot is like the colorful one, and
Let's
it's
do
like
that
the
one.
time's going down.
That's easy.
Let's just do that.
And it'll just be true and false.
I can work on that. But what items do we want in there? What are some good true falses? Like an FBA is a negative consequence. I think that would be a good one. Because it's not. It's not just for like the bad kids. It's for the kids. It's just help out.
An FBA like is a stepping stone to special education. You know, something about an FBA will qualify someone for an FBA or special education services or something like that, because that's not true either.
An FBA, the AIP is evaluating for special education.
Sure.
We need some true ones in there though.
Yeah, unapproached generalized why a child is, I mean, here's all the, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Here's
yeah.
all the,
Yeah, throw some in there. An FBA,
tries to determine the why the child is behaving in a certain way. Realizes the team approach.
oh, we should probably like the FBA is more than the social worker.
Yeah, that
Well, it's not true.
one. You're fine.
Do we think we're done streaming to Wendy? Do you think she's still watching? Hey!
So I totally forgot. It says no one's watching, so
Oh, okay.
What is it?
forgot